All right. Episode 3, Locals Only podcast here with Dominic DeLuca. Thanks for coming, man.
Thank you for having me.
You bet, man. I appreciate you sneaking up here on your time off in between the bowl game and getting back to school. So much appreciated. But yeah, just to get started, I think for anybody who doesn't know you or might not be familiar, if you want to tell us a little bit about yourself and what you're up to these days.
So I play linebacker at Penn State right now. Just went down to the Peach Bowl. Unfortunately, did not turn out our way, but just hanging out now, enjoying time with family, friends, hanging out with people, and just getting to know everyone.
Cool. Yeah, it's you've had quite the ride from what I gather. I've kind of obviously heard your name from the area quite a bit. So you went to Wyoming Area High School and obviously played football there and won a state championship and stuff. And man, I got to start right there. I remember reading that story like the day after it happened. I think it was a Citizen's Voice posted an article about it, and unfortunately I didn't catch the game, and I had chills reading the story, so I can't imagine living it or being there. So for those who might not be as familiar, let's hear about that state championship game.
It's honestly started to hit now. Like at first it's like, oh, it was just another game, but like, I mean, we went down 14-0, and halfway through the third quarter, went for a run, and I got tackled a weird way, and I ended up tearing my ACL. Didn't know at the time. Just went back in because, I mean, senior year of high school, state championship game. I mean,
right.
You work all your life for that. I mean, that's the moment you dream about for real. So, I mean, I just went back in for my brothers, and we pulled out and ended up winning 21-14.
It's crazy, man. And it was a complete fourth quarter comeback,
yeah,
right?
All 21 points in the fourth quarter.
It's insane, man. Like, I got chills just again. Like, I'm like such a high school Harry sometimes where I'm like, I didn't even have, like, I had a very average career or whatever, but I do care deeply about the local high school football scene here. I think it was just ingrained in us at Valley View. And, yeah, like even when other teams are going to the state championship or making deep state runs, like I love following along and like I'm pulling because it feels like, all right, like if we couldn't do it, I hope they do. And yeah, I remember when you guys did that. It was awesome, man. But I guess what was it like in town and stuff after that? Like I can't imagine winning a state championship around here.
So I actually have an older brother, and we look very similar alike. So actually around town, he would be around town, and everyone would start yelling, "Yo, congratulations! How you doing, Dominic?" He just started going with it. He just started, "Thank you so much."
Yeah, it's not worth explaining. It's just like,
so I mean, it was kind of crazy. I mean, everywhere you go, I mean, I would see people at Agolinos just like randomly come up to me and pay for like a lunch. I'd be like, "Oh, thank you so much."
Yeah.
And just like seeing how proud it made the whole town, and like the town really had our backs the whole time. I mean, the Wyoming area community is not the biggest town, obviously, not the biggest school district either. So just showing that we can give back to them that way is awesome.
Yeah, that's cool, man. Did you have any other guys from that squad go play at the next level?
We had Derek Ambrizino, who went to West Virginia, and then he ended
cool.
up transferring to Susquehanna.
Oh,
so,
nice.
Yeah, I mean, he was my tight end and defensive end at the time.
No shit.
Yep.
That's awesome. What's he playing at Susquehanna?
He was playing defensive end as well.
Nice.
Yep.
That's sweet. My buddy, who was literally just the podcast episode before you, was a tight end at Susquehanna, Robbie Pryal.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, so we graduated high school in 2009, so we're quite a bit older than you, but he's like a Susquehanna diehard guy, so he probably knows of them and everything. He follows like every Saturday. So, like in the summer, or not the summer, I guess the fall, like we'll be drinking in his garage, and he's always streaming every Susquehanna game. He's still all in on it, which is cool. He had a hell of an experience, and we kind of touched on that. So, yeah, that's cool. Small world, I guess.
I had another buddy who went to Michigan State to throw the jab, and now he's at Pitt. So I mean, we had a lot of athletes on the team. I mean, we also had a bunch of kids that went trade school.
Yeah.
So like it was kind of like a mixture of like
star athletes and tough guys.
And tough guys.
Yeah.
That blue collar toughness. I mean,
yeah.
I feel like that's just taught in the Lackawanna and Wyoming Valley Conference. I feel like that's just the type of football it is.
Yeah, I think it has a lot to do, especially I think it's almost generational to an extent, not to get like too deep here, but I think like our parents' generation and our grandparents' generation grew up in such a way that like their level of expectation in terms of getting through tough times or working through tough times, I think definitely fell on us, and it's just normal to us. That's just normal life. Yeah, but I think that's definitely a thing around here. And I was actually going to bring this up later because I wanted to touch on your experience then going to Penn State. So I guess tell us a little bit about that. I think Coach Franklin was at the state championship game, so he kind of got to witness firsthand that story and that grittiness that you kind of showed that day, and obviously throughout your whole playing career. But kind of how did everything transpire after that?
So it was Coach Franklin and Coach Pry. Brent Pry at the time was our defensive coordinator. He's now the head coach at Virginia Tech. But they were both at the game, him and Coach Terry as well. I mean, they just I was always recruited by them, but was never really like the top prospect for them. But like I always knew like I was a Penn State fan like through and through. Like,
yeah,
I bleed blue and white.
Yep.
That's literally how it was growing up.
And if you get the chance,
I knew where I was going.
Yeah.
But like I just waited out my options, see if I get like a full scholarship anywhere at first. But after I tear my ACL, I lost a lot of contact from
it's
a
brutal.
lot of schools.
Brutal. And but they kept in touch kind of, and they pretty much gave you like a preferred walk-on spot, right?
Yeah, I mean, Coach Frank was like the only one that had like a true plan for me. So after I tore my ACL, I called him in tears saying, "Oh, like my career's over. I tore my ACL. I'm done."
Yeah.
And he's like, he relaxed, calmed me down, and he had a plan for me. He's like, "All right, you're gonna take the first semester off, the first fall off. You're gonna rehab, and you're gonna come back with the team in the spring." And like he just knew like before I even had like the opportunity to communicate with him, he already knew what I was gonna do.
Yeah.
And like just to show like he has like a goal and like has a plan for everyone, and he loves everyone on the team. He wants us to be successful, and he cares about us all like a child.
Yeah. It's cool to hear that firsthand story, just because you hear so much about how good of a recruiter Franklin is and the guys he brings in. So it's interesting to see like he takes that much care into each and every person he's recruiting. Like even not to discredit what you've done, but like you weren't a 5-star recruit and he still had a plan. Like he's like, listen, calm down. Like you tore your ACL. Like there's a lot, like you said, a lot of guys might have written you off at that point and he didn't. Like credit to him. That's cool. That's really neat to hear, I guess. And then like how'd your first season go? And then you redshirted, right? Your freshman year.
So
with
once
the
I got
injury.
there, I went in as a safety.
Yeah.
I mean, I was probably one of the fatter safeties. So
we're Italian, man. We're getting that pasta.
Yeah, exactly.
And all the good food around here from moms and grandmas and everything.
All the mom and pop shops too.
Yeah.
Oh, you can't beat it. But I came in as one of the heavier safeties. Didn't last long. Right before spring ball started, they moved me to linebacker.
Mm-hmm.
So I played linebacker. That was a big change for me. Just learning like it's a different part of the game.
Yeah.
And now I'm fighting 300-pound men instead of 185-pound men.
Right.
So I mean, you do have to be a little bit more smarter.
Mm-hmm.
But like, I mean, I just took it with a grain of salt and just like went with it.
Yeah.
I mean, I just tried to work my butt off, put my head down, and I knew I would have my opportunity and just try to make the most of it.
Yeah. And you definitely did so far, man. And just getting cooking, man. You're killing it. It's cool to see you out there every Saturday. And I guess so when you bumped down from safety, did they want you to gain weight at that point or anything, or what was the expectation there?
So I was like 210 when I came in. So they wanted me. Well, first they wanted me to lose weight. So I went all the way down to like 198 or something like that.
Damn.
And I was like shredded. I got like 5% body fat or
Holy
something
shit.
like that. And then they like, oh yeah, now you got to bulk up because you're playing linebacker.
Yeah.
So like, all right, now I got to put on 20 pounds. So then I got like 215, 220 my first season. So that was a big change, just like changing my diet and like focusing on like what I could eat and what I shouldn't eat.
Right.
So that was a big change.
That's interesting stuff to me. So like what did you change aside from just eating more? I guess like were you eating like super high calorie shakes and shit like that, or was it like? So
we have a nutritionist and she says PCC. Proteins, carbs, colors. So like I always try to do that the most I could. I mean, I would switch between chicken and I'm a big guy on pork chops.
Nice.
So I would eat a lot of pork chops too. My roommates hated it.
Really? Not big pork guys?
They were not big pork guys at all.
You get a good pork calabrese going with the potatoes and the peppers.
Yeah.
That's money.
They don't understand yet. They don't understand. I just put them all onto deer meat too for the first time.
Really?
So I started eating deer meat around them. Like, all right, go shoot a deer now.
Yeah. Yeah. They're like, hey, you don't have time to go get a buck, but maybe after the season, you can go get a doe in the late season.
Well, I got a doe after I shot a doe after the Michigan State game.
Oh,
shit. I literally drove home right after the Michigan State game.
Dude, it's so wild to think about. Like, so watching somebody on Saturday and then like them just driving home immediately to go hunting. It's just like you maybe like somebody on Iowa or Wisconsin, Nebraska, like those schools, but like and like not even unfamiliar to me. Like I've grown up hunting,
Yeah.
but like to just think about like a Penn State linebacker going home to go shoot a deer like right after a game is hilarious.
Yeah, me and Tyler Ellison were like the two big ones that would hunt a lot, and like he actually shot a doe during bowl prep, and I had to give him my car so he can take it to the butcher.
Oh, really?
So it was like we had to do a little switch off. I had to go help him. And it was
No
like, oh,
shit.
all right.
Wait till everybody's done playing and like they're trying to lean out a little bit. Like for the guys who are trying to bulk or this or that, I'm like, everybody's gonna be wanting deer meat then.
Yeah.
It's like the leanest, like highest density protein meat you could get your hands on.
I also had our punter's Australian, so I had him come over. I'm like, you got to try deer meat, man.
Oh,
like,
really?
You have to. He loved it too.
That's awesome.
He was telling me, he's like, they eat kangaroo over there. I was like, what?
Crazy.
And he said it's like their deer pretty much.
Yeah, there's so many of them. I
Yeah.
think it is. I heard that recently where like I thought it was just like, all right, like obviously everybody associates Australia with kangaroos,
Yeah.
but like I didn't realize they're as common as deer for us, like
Yeah.
especially in the Northeast. It's wild to just think about
It
that and
is
then just
wild.
hopping around boxing people.
He said they're pretty good tasting too, so like I think that's the next thing I got to try.
They kind of look like. Don't you
Yeah.
feel like they had to come
They
at
have.
one point like from the same species or gene,
They have
whatever?
to. Yeah,
Like their faces are similar and
they
stuff.
are,
Yeah.
and they're also built.
Yeah.
They're
You ever see?
yoked.
There's like there's two different kinds of kangaroos. There's like the normal looking one that everybody sees, and then there's this like other like subspecies, and they legit look like 275-pound
Yeah.
ripped just bodybuilders. Like
Mhm.
they got traps up to their
Yeah,
ears and
yeah.
everything. And do you ever see any of those videos online of like kangaroos boxing people and choking people?
Yes, I have.
Insane. Like they look like a human the way they operate sometimes, and like they really get people in like
Headlocks,
yeah,
yeah.
like a naked chokehold, just freaking yanking back on people.
It's like you can't show them fear, or they're like
Yeah.
go too much.
It's wild.
Yeah.
Australians are. Is the punter a
Oh,
wild
yeah,
guy?
he's a wild guy.
I feel like they all have a little wild streak in
They
them.
do. They
Every Australian, I've never met any, I don't think, in person, but like even just like public figures, I'm like they all you could tell they got that gleam in their eye.
Mhm.
They're like
Yeah.
down. If like you want to go do something crazy, just ask them. They'll go do it with you.
exactly.
That's funny, man. How are you prepping the venison for them when you turn them onto it?
So my dad does like a little like balsamic vinegar.
Yeah.
Little, like marinated in that, and then some red wine as
Oh
well.
yeah, that's the
Some
ticket.
homemade. We do the homemade Dago Red though.
Yeah, that works. That'll get them. I know. I wasn't sure if you were gonna say like, because you could mask like the gaminess a little bit, like people do venison parm or this or
Mhm.
that. But I think that's a good introduction. As long as it's marinated well, gets a little more tender, more flavor in it. It's dynamite, man.
Cuts it into little steaks too, so it's
Yeah.
not like the giant whip.
Yeah, that's good eats. I'm craving some deer meat. I'm on a drought. It's been a few years for me for a deer.
Really?
Yeah, I've been struggling. I definitely could have taken a few doe, and I passed on some like smaller 8-pointers and stuff. But yeah, trying to be a good shepherd of the land and take some more mature deer, I guess.
Yeah.
Growing up,
That's how my buddy is. He's like, yeah, I'm passing up on like these small 8s. I'm like, you call that small?
Yeah.
I would have shot that the first time I saw it.
Yeah, small's relative.
Yeah.
It's like if you're
Like, I don't get out as much as you guys. So like if I see a legal buck, I'm probably gonna shoot it.
yeah, you only get so many days a year with
Yeah.
with football and the overlap there. I guess circling back to how we were talking about kind of like the grittiness of football players in our area and people in general, I guess. I think a lot of people are familiar with Matt McGloin's story going to Penn State as a walk-on, very similar to yours, like eerily similar, and really making a name for himself there and doing well, and even making it to the NFL, and had a good showing there for I think like 6 years or something like that. What do you think there is something to that, like the guys in our area? Obviously, you two are like two of the exemplary, what's that the word? Examples, I guess, of those people going there as a walk-on, and then like this year you were named a special teams captain, I guess. How'd that all transpire? Like I guess tell us a little bit more about that if you don't mind.
I would say just like being from the area, I feel like we're always taught to like you have to work for what you want, and like it's not gonna just be given to you.
Mm-hmm.
And like just having that like put your head down and work your ass off.
Yeah.
And like I feel like just like growing up like watching Penn State football, like I mean I had the opportunity to go play for the dream school of mine. Like, why would I not give it my all?
Right. Yeah.
And
100%.
like just having that like chip on your shoulder, saying like, yeah, all right, I'm not the 5-star recruit you want. I'm just as good as them,
Right.
but tougher.
Yeah. Yeah. That's awesome, man. And like you said, if you do that long enough, it's
Exactly.
you become undeniable. You just keep putting it on tape basically, and they're gonna notice eventually, and they obviously have with you, which is it's awesome, man. It's cool seeing you. Like I said, cool seeing you on the TV every Saturday. Oh, I wanted to touch on your role as a linebacker. Like, is it a little bit of a hybrid role what you're playing now in terms of like safety linebacker, or is it true just like outside linebacker? Because I feel like you're all over the field. Like you're obviously dropping into coverage a lot, but sometimes like you're rushing off the edge. Obviously, sometimes you're playing like a traditional linebacker role, I guess. Are they kind of intentionally using you as like a hybrid athlete out there?
So I've been playing a lot of like I'll play inside a lot. I'll play outside, mainly outside, but like the outside linebacker position is technically like they call it like a fat safety, honestly.
Yeah.
So going back to that, it kind of fit the role.
It was a good alignment there.
Exactly. But like the way the game's transitioning, like we don't know if that's going to be. I mean, there's not really a true outside linebacker in the NFL like that.
Right.
They call it an edge rusher now.
Right.
So like, that's more of like another DB. But like I'm also getting reps inside, which is going to help me show like I could play at the next level.
Yeah.
Special teams and as a defensive player.
Yeah, for sure. What's it like? I know you said obviously like you're covering guys who could run like 4.40s and at 180 pounds, and now you're dealing with Wisconsin farm boys guards coming out to reach block on you. And like what's your mindset and what's your strategies when you have like a 325-pound guy coming out to block you?
I mean, at first it was like a little like caught me like by surprise at first, but like now it's kind of like, all right, like they can't move it like me.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just gonna stay low and like change direction fast.
Yeah.
So I'll just you gotta like set them up to like, oh yeah, I'm going this way.
Yeah.
No, I'm actually going the other way. So that's like the big thing. It's really just not let them get your hands on you.
Yeah.
I feel like that's just like the biggest thing you got to do.
Yeah. Once they do that,
it's over.
It's tough. Yeah. Those guys. And I feel like so many people, myself included, just have no idea how big some of these guys are. Obviously, you're around them. But going back to like when McGloin was at school, my buddy J.R. Reefus from Valley View was on the team as well at the time. So I would go down and visit him quite a bit, and we'd be hanging out with like McGloin and all those guys. But Reefus was swapping back and forth between like D-line and a little bit of a fullback role at times. And anyway, we went to a party one day, and it was like clearly just one of the offensive linemen guy's house, and it was all linemen in there when we walked in. I think it was like State Patties or whatever. Yeah. And I walked in, and I'm like, dude, I never felt smaller in my life. Like these guys are next level big, and like, never mind when you see them in pads and everything, and like you see how big their legs are, and just everything about them is so friggin' big. But like even when they're in like hoodies and jeans, I'm like, Jesus, you guys are like different species. And it doesn't show on when you're watching it on TV or anything. You have no idea how big and strong these guys are. So I don't know how the hell you do it. Like you're obviously in great shape. You're strong and quick and everything. You got all the physical skills to do it, but they got 100 pounds on you. It's insane, man. It's insane.
So I live with 2 offensive linemen, and like the first time like all my buddies came up to visit. So like they're all my 2 offensive line buddies. They're 6'6" and like 330, 320. Something like that.
Yeah.
And then you have all my buddies coming in from school, and like I was like the tallest person, like one of the taller people on the teams in high school. So I'm like, oh, all right. Now I'm here, I'm like looking up to everyone. I'm like, oh, geez.
Yeah.
This is real deal.
I know.
And then you have them coming in looking at like, damn, Dom, I thought you were big.
Yeah, I know.
No.
Especially like for our area, I feel like there's not. I don't know if it's an Italian thing, Italian, Irish. Like, there's not a ton of really tall people. So, like, if you are 6'1" to like 6'3" around here playing ball, you're a pretty good people. Size. Yeah. And like a lot of them taller than that either don't play football and they just focus on basketball. So it's like you hang out with your buddies and you are the big, not big dog on campus, but like one of the bigger guys, and then you, like you said, you go around those guys, and it's like feel like
I feel like a midget.
you get dwarfed fast.
Yeah. So for the Peach Bowl, walking out for a captain, I was like, I always try to make sure I'm on the end, so like I don't look as tiny.
Yeah.
So I'm standing there on the end. And next thing you know, my buddy Theo Johnson walks around and he goes right next to me. So I'm in the middle. So I'm like, damn,
big boy.
I look like a little kid walking out of the tunnel because I got an offensive lineman to my left and I got Theo Johnson to my right, who's also 6'6". So I'm like, can't catch a break here.
Nothing could be worse than the year. Well, I think it was Derrick Henry and Mark Ingram walked out as captains. Yeah. Dude, Mark Ingram looked like his little brother. Like Derrick Henry is how tall is he? Like 6'4"?
Probably 6'4".
And like 240.
He's big. He's a big back.
So it couldn't be as bad as that, but yeah, not a great feeling, I guess.
No.
But, hey, you're still a captain for Penn State football. That's pretty badass, man. So I wouldn't fret that too much. So talking about going out as a captain for the bowl game. What was the general feeling in the locker room going into the bowl game? I guess obviously a bunch of opt-outs, which is happening all over the college landscape, and I think it makes sense from even as a viewer. You got to look out for your best interest at that point. There's not a whole lot to prove for those bowl games for guys who have a potential in the NFL. I guess what was the vibe like in the locker room and everything prepping for the bowl game?
So Coach Franklin preached it a lot. We had the opportunity to be the only team to win all 6 New Year's Six bowls. So if we won the Peach Bowl, we would have been the one and only team because like we're going away from the traditional bowl games, going to playoffs. So it'd be the last one to win like the true New Year's Six bowls.
That's true.
So that was a big.
That was a driving force.
That
behind
was
the
big
prep
drive,
anyway. Yeah.
It hurts. I mean,
it's hard, man. I think, and I think. As a lot of Penn State fans are watching, it's like when you're missing some of your top dogs, it's like it's hard to compete with anybody. And never mind, like Ole Miss was a good team. Like they're loaded with talent, and Kiffin's a good coach, and it's tough. I mean, obviously, it would have been sweet if you guys were able to pull it out, but I think it's understandable when you're not playing with the full deck.
It's understandable. I mean, we still have a job to do, and you have to play at a high level. I mean, it's that next man up mentality. I mean, you have young kids at DB playing for the first time all year, going against Ole Miss in the Peach Bowl.
Yeah.
I mean, it's hard, but this is what you signed up to do, and this is what you want to do for the rest of your life.
Yeah, and it's a good proving ground too. Exactly. I think going into next year.
And it's not like the DBs played a bad game or like the D line played a bad game. I mean, they made plays and we made plays as well.
Yeah, it was a really good game. Kind of just the way the cookie crumbled sometimes, but. Yeah, it is what it is. I guess, talking about the college football playoffs and everything, I think from day one when they went to the 4-team, I'm like, it made sense in that particular year because it was only Alabama or only Georgia at that time, I think, that were probably the real contenders. But then you run into years like this where there's legitimately 12 teams that probably could have competed for a national championship, Penn State being one of them. And it's like, such a no-brainer. Obviously, it is changing, so like I'm not going to harp on it or complain too much, but I guess obviously you guys are probably stoked about like having the opportunity next year to compete for a national championship. Obviously, you would whether it was 4 or 8 or 10 or 12, whatever it was. But I guess just with the way some things have been finishing, it's like how frustrating is that to know that you guys were good enough this year to compete for a national championship, but you didn't have the opportunity?
I mean, it hurts. I mean, you also got to compete with those Ohio States and those Michigans. I mean, they're great teams. And Coach Diaz always said it the best. I mean, you're fighting the whole season for only a handful of plays, and you never know when those handful of plays are going to come. And they're going to take you from from great to elite. And that's the thing. I mean, we missed those opportunities. And, I mean, Michigan made some great plays, and Ohio State also made some great plays. Yeah. So, I mean, it's also hard. I mean,
it's hard when Michigan cheats.
I mean, there's that. But, I mean, JJ also said that, too. I mean, like, a lot of schools, like, they do the same thing. I mean, but, like, we don't be buying tickets behind State.
Behind, a little different. Yeah. But,
we don't be doing that stuff.
Took it to the next level.
Yeah.
No, I think this Michigan team is legit. Obviously, they showed that against Alabama. A couple good breaks in that game for them, but they definitely have what it takes to win the whole thing. Yeah, but I think Michigan has a really good squad this year. How I guess going into the national championship, like, are you pulling for them so you could say, a Big Ten team did it, or is it like, fuck Michigan still kind of?
I mean, there's always that hate for Michigan, but it's also great to say I lost the national championship team. I mean, Ohio State was a great team as well, but I mean, Michigan was just so well-rounded offensively and defensively.
Yeah, I feel like they're loaded and they're pretty like senior heavy.
Yeah,
right?
they are.
Yeah,
They have a lot of old guys.
yeah, that helps. I mean, especially with how things go now, and when you could get a senior heavy team, obviously people go to the NFL as early as they can. So when you have guys pan out for 4 years or 5 years, it definitely helps. But yeah, I feel like it's so bittersweet. Like, I don't know if I, as a Penn State fan, like, do I root for them or I don't know. We'll see. But whatever, it is what it is. It's good, I guess, that they beat Alabama. Like,
Yeah,
that's enough. Maybe
Everyone was shocked by that. I was saying, I'm like, don't be surprised if Michigan pulls it off. Like,
yeah.
They're a great team. You can't take them lightly.
Especially this year for Alabama. I
Yeah.
feel like they were down a little bit. Obviously, they still had a great year, and they're always good. It's not rebuild, it's reload down there. But like, this was the year to knock Alabama off, I think, and they obviously took advantage of it, which is, yeah, it's cool to see because I'm kind of sick of, I'm sure you are too, like the SEC versus Big Ten talk.
You got a lot of it, especially after Ohio State losing, then us losing.
Yeah.
So it was nice to see a Big Ten team win.
Yeah, we kind of needed it a little bit. It's tough racket, but it is what it is. Yeah, I don't know. How do you think the national championship game goes?
It's gonna be a good game. Both powerful offenses and great defenses. I mean, Washington's coming to the Big Ten next year too. So
Yeah.
I mean, it's a battle of the Big Ten right now. That's how I'm seeing it.
Yeah,
so.
that's true. I forgot about
Yeah.
that. That's pretty wild to think about. So me and my buddies were actually talking about this. Like, what, like, logistically for travel next year, how the hell does that work?
I'm in the same boat as you, man. I mean, it's a 6
You have to go
hour
across the
flight.
country.
Yeah.
And, like, take classes in the meantime and exams and this and that and the other thing. Like, how does that, like, I don't know how that's going to work. And it's, how many teams from out there? 3?
There's 4. USC, UCLA, Oregon, Washington.
Oh, I forgot about Oregon. Yeah. Shit. Yeah, it's crazy. Like, to expect that of college kids. Like, in the pros, sure, you could do it. It's your friggin' full-time job. But do you guys have, I don't know if you could, but, like, you guys have your own plane, right?
So, yeah, we take our own plane. Like, we'll take a bus right onto the runway.
Yeah.
And just load up from there.
That's got to be nice.
It is nice not waiting on, like, TSA or
I was just
like
gonna.
that.
I'm like, you're getting a taste of what it's like getting a PJ treatment, and,
Yeah.
and then you got to come back to regular civilian life someday. That's gonna be brutal.
It is. I mean, it is.
Well, I guess that makes it a little easier, but, like, I guess so. What me and my buddies were talking about, like, what is the swimming team or field hockey or this and that? Like, do they have their own plane to go to Washington for a match or something? Like, how?
I'm not too sure about that. I would assume they would still have like one private,
Have to, right?
like some type of private plane,
Yeah.
jet for that.
Yeah, we were
just for that reason.
Yeah, like, we were just, because it's like, if you're going to Indiana, like, you could swing it, like, for different sports, I'm saying, obviously, but yeah, just interesting.
I want to say
about.
most other teams like drive everywhere.
Yeah,
If it's like we drive if it's like 3 hours.
Right.
So like we drove to Maryland, we drove to Rutgers.
mm-hmm.
But like I think other sports it's like 6 or something. Anything like 6 hours they'll drive,
Yeah,
and after that they'll fly.
yeah, I guess that makes sense. And I guess the money's there to do it, but it's just, like, weird to think about, like, a women. Like, obviously, nobody's gonna be driving across the country for a women's volleyball match in Washington or Oregon or whatever. So yeah, we got into it one night just bullshitting about it, but interesting to think about. I know you mentioned like Manny Diaz. I guess, what's it been like? I guess going through. Is this your third different defensive coordinator or second?
This is gonna be my third.
It's gonna be your third. What's it? Tom Allen, right?
Tom Allen. Yep.
Yeah. Has that been tough? Like, going from Pride to Diaz to now somebody new?
I wouldn't say it's necessarily tough. I mean, everyone uses the same type of defense, but really just use different verbiage.
Mm-hmm.
Like we'll have similar techniques, but like he'll call it something different. So
Right.
like, oh, like he's talking about like man coverage, and I'll just say it a different way as you're on cover 'em.
Right.
So it's not really a big difference. It's really just learning the names of the plays.
Yeah. And is it a tough process? Or I'm sure, like, obviously the other coaches like Franklin and everybody else get them up to speed on personnel, but like them getting familiar with you, I guess. I wonder what that's like for them. Obviously, you can't speak for them, but to an
I
extent.
want to say they watch films. Like during bowl prep, like Coach Allen was with us the whole time, but he wasn't coaching.
Mm-hmm.
He was like in the meetings and like listening and like seeing like who listens to like all that stuff, like doing his own notes. I would assume.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure he also watches his own film, like
I
on
guess
us
that
from
makes
like the
sense.
season and
Yeah.
like past seasons and practices.
That makes sense. And I guess you probably get a pretty good feel for players within.
I mean, he was also in the Big Ten. He was at Indiana,
Right,
so like
so
he
he
still
prepped for you.
he still understands us.
Yeah. That makes sense. Yeah, just interesting. I wasn't sure like how big of a transition that is. Like, probably would be a lot different if it was a head coach or something like that, because you change the whole regime. But yeah, I guess like you said, defensive coordinator, it's just more verbiage and tactical stuff. In terms of, because I think I got like the slightest peek behind the curtain, just like I said earlier, like talking to Reefus and McGloin when those guys were going through at Penn State. But like, what's a day in the life like for a college student playing Division I football at Penn State? I guess because I think so many people don't have an appreciation for how much time and the level of commitment you guys have to the program.
So off season and in season have two different schedules.
Mm-hmm.
So in season, I'll most likely I'll be in the facility. Like, I'll get up at like 7:30. I'll be in the facility at like 8:30 every day,
Mm-hmm.
and then I won't be leaving the facility or like leaving class, because I'll be there all day for class. I'll be there all day for lift if we have a lift that day. Then I'll be there for meetings and practice. And like by the time we're done with meetings and practice, it's already like 7:30, 8 o'clock at night.
Right, just 12-hour days every day.
So then like you also have to watch film after practice. You have to watch practice, like what you did in practice. Then you have to watch whoever you're playing that week. And then you also have to do your schoolwork at that time.
Right.
And you also have to find time to eat somewhere in between there. So that's also, I mean, it's a lot, but I mean, it's the job we signed up for. I mean, we love what we're doing, and everyone finds time for everything.
Yeah, I feel like it is obviously one of the coolest experiences you could have. But like I said, I think a lot of people don't realize, like, you're not living a normal college kid's life where like you get to go to class, you have whatever, maybe 4 or 5 hours of class every day, and then obviously there's schoolwork and everything, and then you get to party every night. Like it's just not how it goes. No. You guys probably like it's hard to, maybe like after a game you get to go out and enjoy yourself, but like you're only going to pay for it on the field if you decide to sneak in a little bit here and there. And in today's environment where everybody's hyper competitive, like you can't do that anymore. And then like even with like you said, like watching tape on the other teams and everything, like you can't pull like a Johnny Manziel and just 0 hours.
Exactly.
Because your coaches could see how much you watch, right?
Yeah, they watch it all.
Yeah. So it's just I think it's cool to have people hear the level of commitment, like I said, that goes into it, and credit to you guys, because I know like myself at your age, and I'm not that much older than you, but like I could relate. Like I don't know if I would be able to maintain that level of commitment. And I'm sure like like when you run out in front of 110,000, it's like, oh, this is why. But it's not easy to maintain that level of commitment. I think you guys don't get enough credit for that. But
we were just talking about this. I mean, I don't think I've really celebrated a holiday since I enrolled.
Right.
Like Thanksgiving, I was practicing. I had practice on Thanksgiving morning, and I had meetings. And I mean, yeah, we had our family dinner as a team, but like doesn't compare to the family dinner in West Pittston with my family.
Right.
But like also for Christmas, I celebrate Christmas in a hotel room in Atlanta.
Yeah. It is so wild, man. And like
no one sees that side of it.
Right.
But like everyone thinks, oh, like, yeah, they're giving everything.
Yeah. Big man on campus.
Yeah, exactly.
They get everything they want. It's like, I can't even go out and get a free beer because like,
yeah,
it's like you can't even get taken care of on campus because you're always in the facility. And again, like I'm not trying to make it out to be a pity party for you guys, because obviously it's an awesome life that you're leading, but there's a ton of work that goes into it. And yeah, just kind of wanted to highlight that. How about, like, I'm always curious because obviously everybody's different. Like some people like to keep things more calm or like get up for games or this or that in different ways. Like what's your morning routine like, or a game day routine like, in terms of Like from waking up until you step foot on the field? Like, what do you do?
I know this is going to sound crazy, but the noon games I love more than the night games. But I love playing in night games. The only reason I don't like night games because I'm spending all day in a hotel. We stay, so the night before the game, we stay in a hotel. Even if for home games, we'll stay in a hotel at the Penn Stater. But like you're in that hotel all day just waiting.
Right.
Just waiting.
Just building up.
Yeah, and that's what I don't like about it because I try not to like overwhelm myself and be like, all right, like lock in right now. It's 7 a.m. Lock in for the play.
Impossible. You can't stay up that long.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's like where you got to see. So like an early, like if I'm playing a new game, like I'll be up at 7. We'll go get breakfast and then like we'll have like a quick team meeting and then we're off to the stadium. Then for a night game, I mean we'll review our test, review our tip sheets. We'll have breakfast. We'll have a lunch. We'll have like a later lunch too. Well, actually, I think it's a snack. We'll have a snack then like a pregame meal. But other than that, like we're either reviewing more film, taking a nap because we'll have like a 2 hour time frame where we can just like do whatever we want.
Unwind a little bit, yeah. I mean, it's like you said, for a night game, it's so much time. Like you need to. Yeah, I just wondered how you guys structured that. So it's interesting to hear. What do you have any like superstitions or like stuff you have to eat before a game or like stuff you shy away from?
We always get the same like pregame meal. It's like steak, chicken, pasta. It's like you can either have the marinara sauce or you can have like Alfredo sauce. And I always go. I mix both because like I like the little cream.
That's the
cream.
move.
Yeah,
that's the move.
And everyone's like, "You're crazy for that." I'm like, "Don't hate it.
Yeah,
you know,
don't knock it till you try it."
Yeah. And then I also got other people starting to do it. So I'm like, "Hey, like I'm not crazy now, am I?"
Hey, listen to the Italian. Like,
exactly.
These guys. I mean, if there's one guy on the team who knows how to eat, it's got to be you. Like coming from where we come from.
Exactly.
Come on.
They don't believe the pizza from the area. I have to bring it back for him. Like, oh, you're joking. It's not the pizza capital. I'm like, come find out. Like, now they always like my one roommate, Ebe. He always wants me to bring back pizza loving pizza.
Really?
Like,
it is different.
It is,
and it's so good.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like our pizza is definitely different than what you could get anywhere else. I
can't find it in State College at all.
No, it's impossible. Steve Masterson opened up. Is it 8 Mile Pizza? Did you? I think that's in State College.
Is it? I might have to try it out.
Yeah, he opened up Mutant Brewing down in Scranton, and I'm pretty sure he's the owner. I think it's called 8 Mile Pizza, and I'm pretty sure it's right in State College. I have to double check. I just remember seeing something once. Maybe it's not even open yet. I don't even know, but yeah, I'll let you know. I'll check it with him. We've been in touch a little bit here and there about some stuff. So. Yeah, and he posted some pictures and it looks good. Like his concept was to kind of take pizza from here and put it in State College. So
needs it. So
yeah,
I'll be happy to try that.
Yeah, you'll be hitting that. It's finding pizza like what we have around here outside this area is next to impossible. It's like that coal miner tray versus a pie, and it's
everyone's
different.
like, what is it? I'm like, it's a tray.
Yeah.
You're not ordering a pie, you're ordering a tray.
Yep.
Depending on where you go.
And then everybody looks at you like you have 10 heads. Yeah. Yeah. Dude, with local, I actually did a t-shirt like 2 years back, and the whole thing was just like, it's a tray on the back.
Yeah,
and then
I think I know which one you're talking about. Yeah, I've seen that.
It was a hit. Like tons of people liked it because it is obviously unique to this area. So that was a fun one to do. So speaking of being Italian on the team, it's kind of not a shock that the defense really picked up once the Italian got there. I mean, what were you guys ranked this year? You're like number one defense overall
this year.
That's a cool feather to put in the hat, man.
It is.
That's badass.
Not many people get to say they've done that.
Yeah, and there's not that many Italians in the league, but the ones that are out there doing it, like Milano, right, on the Bills.
Milano.
Or they call him Olive Oil.
Yeah.
I'm like that. Dude, that's a badass nickname.
Yeah,
and he's a stud. So, hey.
You have DeVito, too.
DeVito, yeah. Call it. You could be the next Italian stallion in the league. That'd be all time, man. That'd be cool. And I honestly, like going back to like your style of playing, I feel like with how things are changing in the league and it's so like wide receiver dependent, it's like guys like you that have the speed that could run with these guys and like cover from that outside linebacker perspective. Like it's sick to think about. Like you got a shot, man. Mm-hmm. That's so friggin' cool.
Yeah.
Like what do you ever think about it or you just try not to?
I mean, sometimes like yes and no. I mean, you always have to reflect on like where you've been and like what brought you here. So like just thinking back to like high school, I was like, wow, like I used to dream of being in the spot I'm in. And like now I'm here.
Yeah.
but like I also don't want to lose that opportunity. So like I mean, you also reflect on like how like, oh, I want to be in the NFL, but like you have to do what it takes.
Yeah.
Like you're not, it's not going to just be handed to you. You're not just going to fall into the draft.
So I think there's programs when scouts are looking at college players that they obviously view certain programs as a more well-respected program, and they kind of know that they're going to get the caliber of player that's ready to play in the NFL. And I feel like Penn State does a good job of grooming people for the NFL. Because like you guys, I mean, you see guys going to the league and have immediate success all over the place. Like it's been spotty. Like we're not sending the full defense like Georgia did the last 2 years, but the guys who are going are killing it, and it's like been pretty consistent across the board. So you got that going for you. You know, you're in the right situation to be groomed for success, and obviously you're doing all the things that you have to do on your end to potentially have that shot someday. So that's awesome, man. Like. It's just
crazy to
cool think about.
It is crazy.
But going back to like how you were saying, like you reflect on how you got to where you are and kind of how you prayed for this opportunity and now it's here. What was life like growing up and like playing football or focusing on other sports and everything? I guess like, do you think you did anything outside the box of what most of the kids were doing that, you know, like elevated you to this level of success that you had, or is it genetics or hard work or what?
I would say having an older brother helped. I mean, having someone that's 3 years older than you and grew up playing the same sports.
Yeah.
I always wanted to follow like being like him. So I always like grew up playing with like his friends, playing basketball, football, you name it, everything. Like playing it in the street.
Yeah.
Like all of it. I was always around them. I feel like just playing like to like up to that standard.
Yeah.
Helped me a lot too. But also just like work ethic. I mean, how many other people are really getting up at 4:30 in the morning to go work out? And like it was like me and a handful of guys that would always go every morning, and like I wouldn't be here without them. I mean, just like having that discipline of just like getting up every day while everyone else is like up staying late playing video games or like hanging out with friends or partying. I mean,
at what point in your career did you feel like you were starting to do things that other people weren't? Like, was it high school or even before that?
I would say high school. I mean, I would say like end of sophomore year, started junior year, I started like fully committing to like the weight room and like training and all that, and like putting in like the true work. Before I was just going through the motions. I was like, why am I not playing?
Right.
Why am I not like the top guy? And like that's really like where I took like a self look at myself, like what, like who do you want to be, like where do you want to go?
Yeah.
If I want to play at Penn State, like I got to put that work in.
You got to put in Penn State work. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. That's cool, man. It's cool that, you know, it's always nice seeing when hard work does pay off, because a lot of people get it and they don't necessarily have to work as hard. So when somebody is maybe starting from like a less advantageous point and just overcomes all the obstacles that they had to get there, it's awesome to see. And that's why I think so many people rally around you being there now and your story and the success that you're having. Also, I wanted to ask you about that too. Like, is there like tons of people coming down to the games from the area? Just like, is there like a bus full? Like I remember when Jerry McNamara was playing at Syracuse, there was just like bus loads. Obviously basketball's a little different, but there's only 5 guys on the field, or on the court. But like, what has the support been like since you've been at Penn State? Because I know you said it was so heavy while you know, especially after you won a state championship in high school.
So last year, the 2022 season, it was actually my birthday weekend. The not West Pittston Rams. It's the Greater Wyoming Area now.
Oh, they switched it up.
Yeah, I played for the West Pittston Rams.
Yeah.
There was like 3 different teams for each town, but now it's all one. They actually had a bus trip, and they had like 200 people go down.
Damn.
And then this year, the same thing. There was like 200-300 people that came down to support for the Delaware game.
Yeah.
So
and
like,
that's when
I had the pick 6.
Yeah, that
and
was
like,
sick.
it was like just to like feel that support from everyone. Then like coming out and like they all have like my mini like trading card and like jerseys on. I'm like, that's sick. Just to be like that inspiration for them. I mean, it's heartwarming, and just like I just want them to know, like, if you actually put the work in, like you can do what you want.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, you hear quite a bit. It's like you never know who's watching. Like, there could be some 7th grader right now, probably tons of 7th graders that are watching you, and you know, they might even hear this podcast and be like, oh shit, like he started putting in the work his freshman and sophomore year, like waking up at 4:30 in the morning. Like, they don't realize that's what they have to do to get to where you're at. So it takes people leading by example and sharing those stories. So yeah, just thanks for leading by example and, you know, talking about it here. It's that's awesome, man. It's cool. It's cool. I feel like this area really rallies around people doing big things, and it's cool it's inspiring for sure.
Mm-hmm. The support from this area is crazy. I mean, it's awesome. Everyone wearing, like, buying shirts, buying jerseys. I mean, it's really heartwarming, and just to have that to fall back on, like, when times are going tough. I mean, you just always see the people in your corner, and, like, just know I have, like, the area to help me and keep me up like that. It's awesome.
Yeah, for sure. Speaking of the Delaware game, you got to show off the wheels a little bit there on that pick six.
I can still play offense. I say it. You still need me on the offensive side, man.
Yeah, dude, you could go in there.
Quarterback at heart.
I was just gonna say you could go in there for Drew if he needs a little spell here and there.
I was telling Coach Yersich and Coach K. Actually, I think it was I want to say it was last year. We had, like, a walkthrough at the stadium, and, like, we were just, like, messing around. Then there was a walkthrough at the stadium, messing around, just throwing the ball around with, like, my buddies. And, like, no, I'm gonna hit the goalpost. I'm gonna hit the crossbar. I was standing at, like, the 30-yard line or something like that. And, like, yo, Coach Yersich, watch this. And I just, like, chucked it, and, like, I hit it. I looked at him, like, I'm still here. Just remember.
Just let
me.
him know.
Yeah.
That's awesome, man. Hey, still got it. It's like riding a bike.
Yeah, exactly.
If you could sling it, you could sling it. And hey, you won a state championship doing it. It's not even like you just played in high school. You did it, and you guys were 5A.
We were 3A.
Oh, 3A. I don't know why. I was thinking, I must have read something that said 5A, and I was like,
I got a lot of crap from that. So, like, my best buddy at school, Bo Perbula, he went to Central York, so he understands, like, PA football. Yeah. And he was a 6A school, so I always bust him because he lost in the state championship.
Oh, shoot,
He's
really?
gonna hate me bringing this up, but he lost in the state championship, and I always show him, like, hey, you got the gold medal. I got a ring too. You want to see it?
You can borrow it tonight if you want. Oh man, that's So hey, you never know. You might be in on a trick play some days, a little special teams action. Are you in on punt or no?
Yeah, I'm on the punt team.
Yeah, so
I'm on all the big four teams.
Yeah, not to give away any little tidbits here, but might be slinging it on a fake punt next year.
Hey, we'll see. Yeah.
Hopefully Michigan doesn't have anybody listening. That'd be cool, man. I guess going into. So it'll be your redshirt junior season coming up. Mm-hmm. I guess what expectations do you have for yourself, number one, and number two, like what's the outlook and general feel in the locker room for the team next year? I feel like you guys have a ton of good pieces in place. Obviously, you just had the number one defense in the country. Obviously, everybody graduates and sends people to the NFL year over year, but I feel like expectations are higher now than ever.
I mean, yeah, we are losing a lot of skilled people. I mean, losing people up front too. I mean, it's going to hurt, but I mean, we have that next man up. I mean, they were showing that younger kid how to do it the right way. You had Adisa Isaac, Chop Robson, Show and Deny Dennis Sutton, and Zariah Fisher and Amin Vanover, all of them, how to approach the right way at the defensive end position. I mean, even at linebacker, Curtis Jacobs leaving, that was another big one. Like, me and him were really close. I would always ask him what he's seeing out there. Like, and like we'll ask each other that, like, where could we get better there? Yeah. So, I mean, that would be another big step. I mean, also just for myself, I would just say taking my game to the next level and, like, see where I could do better and do, like, my own pre-eval, and I'm going to do that when I get back to school. So I'm excited for it.
Yeah. Yeah, I think everybody is real excited for next year, especially with the playoffs expanding and everything. I think I'm pumped to see what happens for you guys next year. You got a bunch of studs on both sides of the ball. It's going to be awesome. I guess, and like with the transfer portal, like one of the biggest things that just happened, Julian Fleming coming over, which I think the receiver position this year was one of the pain points. I guess people were saying, like, I'm not saying anybody was better or worse than anybody, but I think it's a welcomed addition. He was he the number one recruit in the nation or just the number one receiver in the nation coming out?
He was both.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
So he did well at Ohio State. Obviously that room was loaded for the last 3 years. So he had some stiff competition. But for the times like I saw him on the field, like he performed well. He was just around these guys are like number one receivers dudes, in the NFL now. So that'll be awesome to have him.
I mean, it's a great addition. I mean, he's a great receiver, and we're excited to have him.
Yeah. How about Southern Columbia? Like,
yeah.
Imagine going to school there. They won like 8 out of the 9 like straight state championships, and
it's crazy.
Like the past 15 years, I think they won like 12 or 13.
Yeah.
It's insane.
They've been on one too. I mean, I mean, when I played them, they had 5 Big Ten players on the team at once.
You guys played them?
Yeah, my senior year of high school.
No shit.
That was the only team that beat us my senior year.
Oh, that's what I was gonna ask you. Not to be a dick. I didn't plan this. I promise. I seriously, because I saw your record that you guys had one loss your senior. It was them.
It was them. We got shut out by them. I think it was like 42-0 or something like that.
They've been unbelievable, man.
They were just great all around. I
Yeah.
mean, they had Fleming at receiver. They had Preston Zachman, Cal Halliday.
Yeah.
The Garcia brothers.
Yeah. They've been loaded, man, year over year. Even like going back to like Henry Hynoski days, like it's wild what they've been doing. But it's not. At least your one loss was to them. It's like it's a little bit more easy to swallow.
Yeah.
But yeah, it would have been nice to go undefeated and win a state championship. But yeah, I'll take the ring every day.
Hey, we never know. You never know if you're going to make it if you don't lose that game.
Right? Yeah.
I mean, you got to get that level-headed.
Yeah, a little reality check.
Exactly.
Get everybody refocused. At what point of the year was it that you lost to them?
I want to say it was like later in the year, like week 7, week 8, something like that.
It's good going into the playoffs. It's like, okay, we are beatable. Like we're not, especially like when you're in high school, it's like you're 7-0. It's like nobody could beat us.
Exactly.
And you think like that for sure. Dude, I like my senior year, like we ended up not even that good. We were like 6-4, but we were like 4-0, and like going into week 5 or whatever, we dropped one to Abington, and we handed them the game. But like my whole locker room, like we had like, it was a super senior heavy team. Like there's like 24 of us, and we've all been playing together like since midgets, like probably just like you guys, and we bawled our eyes out. That like I never have seen like all of my friends cry like that in my life, because we just, after being 4-0 or whatever we're like, oh, we're definitely going undefeated. Like we're gonna compete for a state title, and then it was like the biggest reality check ever, and we didn't bounce back well from it, obviously. But yeah, it's like when you're 17 and 18 years old, it's like, if I'm this good now, I'm going to be this good forever. And it just doesn't work like that.
No.
Yeah.
There's always someone bigger and faster and stronger.
Yeah, always. I meant to ask you that when we were talking about getting up for game day, or like even like putting in the work, like you said, from like your sophomore year of high school, like getting up early for workouts and stuff like that. Has there been any like quote or any like particular piece of advice that anybody's ever given you that, like, you know how some shit just sticks and it's just like always in the back of your head, like when you're on your last sprint of like 20, or you're doing like a half gasser or full gasser, and like that little extra push that gets you through? Is there anything like in the back of your head that sticks, or is it kind of just like a general?
What really gets me like through the workout is just knowing that like there was a little kid. My first ever Penn State football game, I was the first whiteout, 2005 against Ohio State.
Hoo-wee.
And I painted myself white for it. So like, I was like pumped. And I always think back to that. I'm like, what would you do if you saw that kid right now?
Yep.
What would you be telling him?
Mm-hmm.
So
like showing it, yeah.
They're showing him, yeah. That's what I meant, yeah. So like, that's what gets me going. But like, Coach Franklin also has this like, not like quote, but he puts up this word. It's all one word. It says opportunity. It's supposed to say opportunity is now here, but it also gets like translated as to opportunity is nowhere.
Just with the play on letter.
Play with letters.
Gotcha.
So like I always think about that. I'm like, wow, like it really just depends on how you look at it.
Yeah, that's a good one.
So that
hits different. Yeah, I like that stuff, because obviously there's so much motivation to be had on the internet today between like YouTube and social media and motivational speakers and everything like that. Like growing up listening to Ray Lewis and Ed Reed and those guys go off in the locker room and shit like that was always cool to hear. But I feel like there's always that one thing that just sticks with you. So I like asking like different types of athletes and high performers what kind of motivates them just at that like simplistic level. I actually saw one the other day, and I've seen it a bunch in the past, but it was like a whole montage video type thing of Tim Tebow talking about out there he's training and you're not, basically, and when you meet you will lose, or he will beat you, or something like that. I just butchered it, but you get the idea. And it's just like the constant reminder that there is always somebody up earlier than you or staying up later than you and putting in the extra reps.
I always go to the Kobe.
Oh yeah,
Kobe quote. I think not the quote, I forget who it was, said he's like, oh yeah, my job is going to be to beat him down at breakfast, be the first one at breakfast. And he showed up to breakfast, and like Kobe was already in a pool of sweat with like ice bags all over him.
Already like 2 hours worth of work, 1,000
always
shots
has a workout in.
Yeah.
And then you're just there eating breakfast, like damn, like that's the difference between you and me.
Mm-hmm.
That's literally how you see it.
He was built different, man.
Exactly.
It sucks so bad that he's gone. It's like, cause like he even like with that Mamba show that he had after he retired and everything, like it would have been cool to have him around even just as an analyst and stuff. Now just seeing like Chuck and Shaq on those shows, like obviously they're a bit goofier, but like it would have like just to have Kobe's mindset still out there would have been nice to have. I guess sometimes when you die young, your legacy lives on a little stronger rather than fizzling out. But yeah, definitely unfortunate.
I watched a lot of Kobe when I was going through my ACL because that was a rough time.
Yeah,
that was not fun. Just learning to like walk again and like bend my knee.
Brutal.
I mean, everyone's done it. I mean, I wasn't trying to have pity for myself, but I was also trying to find like who's going to like help me get through this.
Yeah.
Watch a lot of Mamba videos for that too.
The Mamba will get you through.
Yeah, exactly. Get you pumped up.
Yeah. Cause what did he tear his ACL or was it Achilles? Achilles. Yeah. Achilles. I remember that, man.
That's just as bad too. That's even worse.
Yeah. Everybody says that one. Yeah. That one hurts like a bitch. When you tore your ACL, was it like a distinct pop or anything, or was it one of those deals where it's like, I know something's wrong, but like I just got to power through this right now?
Honestly, when I went down, I tore my left ACL. I was grabbing my right knee when I went down. So like, the way I got hit with a helmet on this side, and like my foot just got caught on top of the other one.
Yeah. So
that's how I tore it.
Damn.
So it was kind of weird. It was like a contact ACL too. So like you don't really see that.
Right.
So like just that happened. I was like, damn, like they were checking this knee out, doing the ACL test on this knee.
Yeah.
Trying to
but
make
that
sure
was just the bruise or whatever.
Yeah, that was just like the bruise I got.
Yeah.
So the doc's checking me out, and like I guess like the backup quarterback went in and he threw a pick. Damn. And like I heard like everyone like yelling. I was like, I gotta go. I lightly pushed the doc out of the way and just ran onto the field.
That's awesome though, man. That's like, obviously it sucks that you tore your ACL, but like what a friggin' story. Dude, like your grandkids someday are gonna be telling that story. That's badass. That's sick, man. Because so that was Wyoming Area's first state championship,
ever
right?
State championship, first appearance.
Dude, so growing up when I did, so Valley View won a state championship in 1992. So then like all of those guys were like right around the age, like when we started playing like middle school, high school ball, they were like right in like that coaching age. They were like 25 to 30 to 32, whatever. And like those guys were legends for us. Like the stories that we heard about them being like 10 years older than us, basically, or 15 years older than us, or whatever it was, like they were up on like the highest pedestal in a small town. It's just the way it goes. So it's like, dude, you don't even probably realize it because you have other cool shit going on right now. And like Penn State's probably cooler than Wyoming area. But like when the dust settles on everything, like you got a legacy around here, man. And that's cool. Cause like I said, and like we said earlier, it came down to hard work for you for the most part. Obviously you're a gifted athlete and some stuff is genetic and, but there's a lot of genetically gifted athletes that do nothing with it. Exactly. I feel like you're doing a hell of a lot with it, and I'm excited to see what the future holds for you guys and you personally. So, yeah, man. Thanks again for coming up. I know you only have a couple of days off now in between the bowl game and getting back to school. So, thanks again, and it was awesome meeting you. I hope we could do it again sometime.
For sure. Thank you for having me.
You bet, man. Cool.
Yeah.
Thanks, brother. Of course. Appreciate it.
Thank you.